The Maritime Heritage Alliance welcomes you to witness the creation of a work of art and the recreation of a piece of history, the schooner Madeline. While thousands like her sailed the Great Lakes in the 1800s, the original schooner Madeline played a pivotal role in the history of the lakes. In the winter of 1850-51, the original schooner's crew hired a young Traverse City settler to teach them to read and write. In net effect, the Madeline was Traverse City's first schoolhouse, but the resultant effect of that quiet winter changed history. 3 of the original crew were the brothers Fitzgerald, whose names would become synonymous with the glory days of the Great Lakes shipping industry in the years that followed. The great-grandson of one would lend his name to the ill-fated ore carrier Edmund Fitzgerald, which sank on Lake Superior in 1975. The Madeline also played a part in the final days of the only kingdom ever to exist in the United States. After the assassination of King Strang on Beaver Island, she ferried Irish settlers to the island, many descendants of which live there to this day. Sharing the common concern that this kind of rich maritime history was slipping away, a small but determined group of boat and history buffs formed the Maritime Heritage Alliance in 1982, with the goal of collecting, preserving, restoring, and replicating artifacts of the Great Lakes' colorful past. Almost at once, the group began work on a symbol to represent them. The chosen project was a 20-foot Mackinaw boat, once a more common sight than even the great schooners. Volunteers labored through the summer building the small boat. Just before launching, a little girl named Grace Louise offered master builder Bob Core a half-eaten cookie at the end of an especially tiring day, and hence the boat became the Gracie L. On a chilly November day, the first flagship of the MHA slid off the trailer and into the waters of Grand Traverse Bay. With her trademark down-warped bowsprit, canvas sails, and gaff schooner rig, Gracie L became the first Mackinaw to slice through these waters in over 50 years. The success and publicity surrounding the Gracie project greatly expanded the interest in and awareness of Great Lakes maritime history, and Alliance membership grew. With this new infusion of people came new ideas. Armed with this fresh spirit, boundless determination, and almost no money, the group sought a new project. The story of the original schooner Madeline surfaced, and everyone agreed no other vessel could better represent the MHA's philosophy of keeping the maritime heritage of the Great Lakes alive. Soon after, the attic floor of the Great Lakes Maritime Academy became a huge drawing board, where Madeline's lines were lofted to full-size patterns. The Maritime Academy also granted short-term use of a small tract of land on which to construct the ship. The first shipment of lumber arrived by truck in the spring of 1985. Much of the material had been selectively taken as standing trees from the woods of northern Michigan to lend an even greater accuracy to the replica. The builders, mostly volunteers, confidently began assembling the frames to the huge white oak keel. Within 2 years, everyone believed then, she would be a ship. These hardy men and women would find, however, that Madeline's legacy as an educator was not over. She would teach us that to recreate history is more than symbolic. It is a personal challenge. Before the Madeline would sail, she would force us all to look deep within ourselves, to tap resources of will and determination few of us knew we had. She would bring us together as a family and galvanize an entire community to see her through to completion. Just as the original Madeline had shaped history, her namesake would indelibly mark all who labored to build her.
This project is more than just the Maritime Heritage Alliance. This is a community project. This is Traverse City. This is capturing some of the history and involving the entire community in a project that's going to have long-range effects. It's going to be with us a long time. Everybody's going to have a chance to use it.
I came here when they had an open house back in 1985, I think around June, and I like to keep busy doing things, and I always have been interested in schooners. Even years ago when I used to beachcomb with my children, we'd go up along Lake Michigan and we'd see relics of schooners that were wrecked on the shore, and we often would wonder, you know, what part of the ship was this, you know, was this a part of the deck or a part of the frame or whatever, and then now I can see the relationship of those pieces that we used to see, because we're building a vessel very typical to that, and we're using a frame construction with plank on frame, and you can see, hey, this looks like a piece of that driftwood you used to find. It keeps me busy doing something, mentally and physically, and I think that's very important for a person to be doing that type of thing to keep in good shape. This gives me an opportunity to associate with people from different walks of life, where one man was a kind of a salesman, and another's a school teacher, and another's a boat builder, and that type of thing. And so you get a good cross-section of people.
It has been said by some sage in the past that the schooner is the most beautiful artifact ever designed by man. And I think most of us involved in this project have that kind of an idea.
Basically, there was a bunch of retired guys that built this boat, and it's beautiful, and it's just amazing to see these guys, the things that they've accomplished.
And seeing the smiles in the faces and the children, you'd see them, they'd look and they'd say awesome and things like that. You know, they were just amazed that something like this was around, you know, that they could actually get aboard and go back in time, so to speak.
Different people bring different strengths, and and if you sit around and watch, you can see how everybody has their kind of part, and from that standpoint, it's been real unique.
We're getting volunteers on this project who are retirees who want to do this kind of work, and some of them are skilled, some of them aren't. They're good workers when they get here, and these guys are great.
Well, I guess the reason I got started was Marty Melkild and Ed Brown both belonged to the United Methodist Church. And they got after me, and so I came down because I am interested in boats. So I agreed to come down for one day. And one day worked into 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. And I didn't think it would take 5 years. I didn't think I was committing 5 years. But as it turned out, it was 5 years. But it was very interesting and challenging, and I'm very happy that I made the election to do that.
When the people began coming from as far away as the Detroit and the Jackson region to join it, we knew that the outcome would be successful.